If you've been feeling the call to write a book, it is no accident. Your book is needed in the world, so let's make it happen. I'm Nicola, and this is the Unbound Writers Club. Hello and welcome to the Unbound Writers Club, our first episode of 2025. And I have a special one for you today because I am joined by one of our magical Unbound Press authors, Debra Kilby. So Debra's second book, How to Communicate with Your Unborn Baby, came out just before Christmas, on the solstice, actually. It's an ebook and it's a follow-up to her first book, Rosa's Choice. So Debra's work is all about spirit babies, like connecting with spirit babies, or that's the core of her work. And in this new book, How to Communicate with Your Unborn Baby, Meditations and Practices, what she's done is brought together, it's more than a book. We talk about this during our conversation. It really is kind of a journey that she is taking you on, an experience you get to have. So how it's described is an inspiring guide that reveals how baby souls before birth, after loss, or in the womb carry profound messages of love, hope, and guidance they wish to share, not just for their parents, but for the creation of a brighter, more compassionate world. Debra's work is so powerful. I always love being with her, chatting with her, like seeing what wants to come through in our conversations. Whether or not you think you're interested in spirit babies, I know you're going to get something powerful from this conversation. So I'm going to zip it and let's dive in. So Debra, welcome back to the Unbound Writers Club.
Hello. It's gorgeous to see you and be here.
It's always such a pleasure, like, to have you in this space and be able to have a conversation with you and see what wants to come through. I'm going to begin with the question that I always ask at the beginning of these conversations. It's a little bit different from the way I used to ask it, I think, the last time you were on the podcast. But it's, what makes you an unbound writer?
Yes. So what I've realized, unbound doesn't mean chaos and no no boundaries. For me, it means, I had a really busy year last year, working part-time back in a charity, doing PR and things, media, also my business, and of course writing my new book. And so the Unbound was to create the boundaries around what felt good for me, when it was right to write, when it felt good to say, no, I'm not going to do that thing, I'm going to do my thing. And so Unbound is just, for me, it feels like having more of a presence of self and following your own compass, if you like, and not being drawn into everything else. So yeah, Unbound, I used to think, God, is that, I was like literally unbind, but you're unbinding from those programs that stop you from creating that time for yourself and what you need and your needs. So yeah, Unbound writer for me means, you own it, you're creating within your own space and finding the time for you in that. So that's
I love
my
that.
new answer.
I love that. Well, it's always different, isn't it? I think, we get to these different layers of what unbound means to us. And, I always say unbound, it doesn't mean unboundaried. Like, as you were speaking there, it's almost like there's this fierceness that can come through and like, no, I'm going to fiercely hold these boundaries for myself and for what I want to create, what I want to do, who I want to be in the world. And I really feel that through your answer.
Yeah, and that's what it felt, quite fierce, that
Yeah.
the sacred no, adding that sacred no. This is my time, my space, my pull is to be writing this right now, and not all the other stuff, and kind of letting go of those patterns that we have as mothers and wives and friends, all of those things, and just choosing you, not in a selfish way, obviously, but in a way that is very unbound but boundaried for you, if that makes sense. Yeah, just
Totally.
owning your worth and right for filling your needs.
Absolutely. I don't think writing a book could ever be thought of as selfish, because you know you're doing it like as an act of service. And you talk there about the pull to write this book, your second book. Tell us a little bit about the pull, and what, you know, what was the call to write this specific book?
Yeah, so I said after Rose's Choice, I don't think I'm ever going to write another book because, that one took 5 years and is like so deep and beautiful.
Mm,
And I couldn't imagine what would follow that. But, as a spirit baby medium, I'm receiving so much gorgeous information, incredible information all the time, and connections from them. And it just struck me one day that, being able to communicate with one of my babies in spirit, Rosa, like changed everything for me. It changed how you feel because you're hearing another perspective, and you're kind of having another view on what was happening, and it really did change everything for me. And then I was thinking about, well, how did I get to that point of communicating with spirit baby, because this is not something that was in my mind at all before my own challenging journey to motherhood. And I'm often asked, how do you do that? Or it's just this, like, women don't, we're always handing out power over to
mm,
something or someone. And this book is called How to Communicate with Your Unborn Baby, but it's not actually a how-to book, because there isn't a how-to. It's very individual, it's very personal, and it's really about opening up your intuition. And my main drive for the book was, yes, I might do this, it's my role in this lifetime, but it's not just for me, it's forever. We can all do this. So all of my work is very much about empowering mostly women, but also men, empowering them to know that they can, that this is available to them, that connection is available, information is available to them, their intuition is online. So it's really about an empowerment. So there's this real call in all of my work to empower people to know it's not coming from the outside, it's all within you, and you are that. So it's this real kind of inspiration, really, to open yourself to, maybe I can, maybe my baby is waiting to speak to me, and maybe I can do that myself, and you're not handing anything away to anyone else.
mm.
So yeah, this call for empowering people into their own intuition, I think that was the pull. And spirit baby, really, they've got so much to share, and they're really getting quite, well, they've always been quite determined, to be honest,
Yeah,
but it really feels like now, okay, come on, I'm here, this is what I want to share with you, this is what I would love you to know. So it feels strong to kind of connect, to help people to into that connection, or support them in their own connection with the babies. And I can only do so many readings in a day, so the more that we're opening ourselves to it, you, the person who is in connection with your baby, to connect with your baby, for example, I mean, it's a game changer.
totally, totally. I feel like we're really moving away from that idea that like somebody else knows better than us. Like we have to, and this is with like books of all kinds, really. Um, like, even though someone's writing a book on a particular subject, it's not from a place, well, this is the way I see it. I don't want to write any books from a place of like, well, I know best, so do it this way. It's like holding space for the reader to find their own way with whatever the subject is that an author's writing about.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more of us that are, going into that self with it, and if it's a book or a person that's holding the space for you to access that for yourself, yeah, it's so much more. There's yeah, no more handing our power away. It's really not where we're at right now.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So we were talking before I hit record, and I was saying this is so much more than a book. Like we're talking about it as a book, but there's so much more to it. It really does. Well, it takes the reader on the journey, I guess, into themselves and their own kind of like wisdom and inner knowing. It includes a series of meditations as well. Can you tell us a bit more about like how the book took form?
Yes, so I wanted it to be an ebook
Yeah.
because I wanted it to be an experience. You're not just reading something and, reading Rose's Choice or any of the Unbound books or whichever book, people are drawn to. It kind of activates something within, activates a remembrance within, or
Yeah.
plants a seed, or, it opens something within if it when it resonates with you. But for this book, I really wanted, like, for people to know and to experience it, not just talk about spirit baby and spirit baby communication, but to experience it for themselves. So the reason it's an ebook is because, of course, I think there's 9 meditations, maybe more. I can't remember, that take you on a journey into your intuition. And there's all sorts of different practices in there as well. So there's practices that aren't involving meditations. There's about 20 different practices, whether that's sitting with a candle or noticing nature around you and what message in that particular flower or that particular bird or cloud is giving, is sending you, just being aware. So it's about opening up your awareness to what's around you and the energy around you and the signs that are around you. Because when we're communicating, we see it as like me and you communicating in this way, but communication is in so many ways, is communicating in all sorts of ways. So it's kind of getting away from just the sitting down and talking and listening, but to feel and experience different ways of communicating. And spirit baby communicate through nature. They communicate, it's not like you're going to sit and have a conversation. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but their signs are always there. They're always showing you something. They're always speaking to you in some way. So it's about opening you up to the signs. So really, it's more like I don't want to say course, because that sounds like it's a doing.
Yeah.
This is something you've got to achieve, and it's not like that. It's an experience, actually. So it's delving into the experience of, okay, I've never channeled before, but there's a meditation to guide you into channeling, if that's your thing. Or there's a meditation that guides you into a coffee shop, where you're kind of experiencing your own clair senses, whether that's you're seeing your babies sat with you in the coffee shop, whether you're hearing them, whether you're just feeling them, knowing that they're there, so you're experiencing your own intuition, and your baby is with you, guiding you and being with you in that creation, in that moment. So it's a real experience. It's very deep, actually. And of course, just lots of insights around spirit baby and why they're important, and what, the difference and the benefits, for you, connecting with them and for them.
So powerful, so powerful. I mean, what was the process like of writing this book, Deborah? Obviously, it's very different from Rose's Choice, your first book. So a different experience in terms of writing it. What was it like bringing it together?
So I'd already run a course, actually, how to communicate with your unborn baby. And I was thinking that course, I'd had a lot more information come through, a lot more insights come through. And I was like, I could put that onto paper. So rather than put out, do the course again, and I probably will do the course again, it will look very different to the first time I've done it, because there's so much more that's coming through. But it's like, how can people access this in a more easy way without having to find me and sign up to a course and once a week come and join together? It's like, no, let's make this into an actual physical thing that people can dip into. They can choose the practices, choose the meditations in their own time, like really begin to trust what they're being drawn to within it. So I thought I pretty much had the book written, but of course, when you start writing, then more and more starts coming through. So it did actually take a year. Rose's Choice was 5 years. This was a year to write, because it was, can you put this bit in? Can you put this bit in? So it really is it's more focused as well. Like Rose's Choice goes from the individual to the collective, to the more universal experiences of life. Really focused on you, on your connection and your intuition, and why your connection with spirit baby, if you're in conception or experience baby loss, or you're pregnant right now, why that's so much of a benefit for you and your baby. To really go deep into that, looking at conception or loss and pregnancy in a very different way, because we need to, be helpful to just change, just have a different perspective on what is actually happening behind the scenes, and why that's important.
I suppose, like, what's coming through around that is changing all the time. I know it is with like all of your work, and I can imagine that maybe it's challenging to get to a point and say, actually, like, the book is done. Because there's always going to be new layers that are coming through, aren't there?
There's always, yeah, and then usually when I'm in a call with someone, in a session with someone, or a reading with someone, then more information, that's how they share the information. This is this is what's happening in conception, or this is a really good way of opening your energy or healing that particular aspect, because they can pinpoint different areas of our energy field where needs a little shifting, or what they want to highlight to you. So they really give you a starting place of, okay, so rather than me thinking all of these thoughts I'm thinking about myself, that it's because of this, or it's because I'm not good enough, or I did something wrong, or I'm a bad person, or I'm being punished, or I don't, all of the stuff we can tell ourselves. Having that perspective from the very being that you are creating with gives you a different starting point, even if it just plants a seed of, oh, maybe what I've been telling myself isn't true after all. It's an invitation to look at yourself, your motherhood journey, and the world in a really different way. So there's always new stuff coming through, because obviously it's not all dumped on us all at once, because I think we'd probably explode with just exactly what is going on behind the scenes. But it's just what we're ready for. We read, or we hear, or we sense what we're ready to open to. So there did come a point where it's like, okay, I just need to add this little bit about the mother wound, because the mother energy, this is what we are essentially bringing back online. It's been, women have been so wounded, the mother wound so deep, of lifetimes, that I really wanted to bring the mother energy in. And that was more of a directive as well, from that we have to look at the energy of mother, and not the mother, just the physical mother. That's not the mother energy. The mother energy is the energy that births all, and is the creation energy. So yeah, so they wanted me to add that bit in. So new insights from the mother energy that wasn't in Rose's choice either.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's always a point where you just think, I don't know if I can stop.
I know, I know. Well, there will be more, I'm sure. Like the whole piece around like mother energy, like that could be a whole book of yours of
Yeah,
its own, couldn't it?
it's
So
massive. Yeah.
it is massive. Um, let's talk a little bit about the actual writing process, because you mentioned at the beginning, like last year was a busy year, a full year for you. So how did you actually, it's always helpful for other writers to hear from authors, like how they actually find the time and make the time to prioritize their writing. How did you navigate that in particular last year when you had lots of other things going on?
Hmm. It was not putting pressure on myself. Telling myself I
Mm.
was going to do it then just doesn't work for me, because I completely, like, no, even if I hate being told what to do, even by myself.
I
So
know.
I, I would kind of build it to be honest, for me personally, it feels like a bit is the feeling that builds up. Like
Mm.
it's like a calling from the book. It's coming time. There's something else that needs to be put onto the page. So I would wait for that feeling, to be honest. And sometimes it would be a week, sometimes it would be a month, but I didn't put pressure on myself to finish it. I didn't put pressure on myself to go, right, I need to do this. And some people are much more organized than me, and that might work for them,
Mm.
to actually say, right, on Tuesday morning, I'm putting aside 3 hours, and that's my writing time. And I don't work like that. It has to be, I have to have a feeling for it. And like, oh, I feel like I need to put something in the book. I feel like I'm being called to it. So when I started to let that feeling build, then I would look at my diary, and I go, right, okay, that's a free day. That sounds perfect. So I'm not like, from I don't want to write to, no, I'm forcing myself to write. It's like a preparation time of building myself up to then go to the page, but I can feel the energy building to go to the page. And then I look at when it might fit in, because then I'm ready. By the time I've got to that page, I've kind of, I've done all my warm-ups and, all of that, and you're ready to then sit with your book. And then that feels natural and organic, and it's not forced. So that's personally how I kind of approached it. And you have more time than you think,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm someone who can't just squeeze it in an hour. It has to be a full day, or at least a good 5-6 hours that I'm just in the book, whether I'm writing, thinking, doodling, whatever it might be, or meditating or channeling. I'm dedicated in that time to that, because I've made my preparations. I felt the energy build to that moment, and then it just is ready.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. I love that. I kind of want to come and hang out with you when you're in that zone. Oh, amazing, amazing. So that takes a lot of trust, doesn't it? To kind of not be in that place of like, no, but I've said I'm going to do this, so I need to get on with it. It's what we're conditioned to do, what we're taught to do. No, if you say you want to like do something, create something, you set a date and you just get on with it and push through and do it. Has that shifted for you at all, like since the beginning of writing Rose's Choice to where you are now? Have you learned to trust yourself more as a writer?
Yeah, I've definitely learned to trust myself more, trust the feeling, trust the intuition, and trust the energy of the book when it's calling. Because when you're sat there thinking, I've got to write, or I've got to put something in, and that can also work, but it doesn't seem to flow. It's not as enjoyable. Some people do like to work like that, and that's brilliant, but for me it just doesn't work like that. But I've learned to trust. Look, it will happen. And I know it's easier when I let it happen, when I'm following the flow of it and feeling the call of the energy of it, rather than forcing myself, this is something I need to achieve.
Yeah.
Because just like conception, it's not an achievement exercise. You're receiving information, and then you're sharing that onto the page and then out into the world at some point. But it's allowing yourself to receive and feel the intuition and the flow of the energy of the book, and noticing the difference when there's resistance compared to it's just not happening. Like sometimes when I had some time and I thought, oh, maybe I'll just do a couple of words, it didn't feel right. So I would just let it go until it felt right. I very much just follow the energy of things. And I knew when the energy was around, like, oh yeah, this is a really lovely open space and things can flow. Trying to let go as much as possible of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. You can really feel the difference, can't you? But when it does, when the energy's there and it opens up and it starts to flow, such a good feeling. Such a good feeling. I can't let you go before asking you about 2025, because as we're recording this, it's right at the beginning of January 2025, a new year. And I just wonder if you've got any kind of insights, if anything's been coming through for you in particular around like this year and what to expect. Like no pressure, but if there's anything.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, because normally it takes like January, it's pretty much usually a write-off for me. I'm still settling into the year, into the energy, but I feel like I was in 2025 even in December. And I feel like it's this sense of, I want to make the most of this year. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen this year. And it's not a pressure thing, it's an opportunity thing, it's an invitation to really own your voice, own who you are, get that course out, or that project, or stand up and say your truth in a in the family stage, or whatever stage, or an actual stage. It's like, okay, we've got to start being authentic, and there's this real drive for authenticity and being in your own truth. I've also found a really interesting kind of, because we can get carried away with the new year collective energy. And I'm just not in it. I'm not in that collective energy of, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. I just have this inner, like, this pull of stay in your own lane, which is a lovely phrase from Spirit Baby. Just stay in your own lane, no matter what anyone else is saying, doing, stay in your own lane. And it just feels like it's going to be quite quick, but we're going to be very inner focused, as in, what do I want? What do I need? You know, it's going to be powerful as we all allow ourselves to do that and be ourselves, own all of who we are.
Really, really feeling all of that, actually. That kind of call inwards of like, I was feeling that very much towards the end of 2024. It's like, actually, I don't want to, this is just noise. I don't want to listen to anyone else. I just want to focus on, you know, what's for me and what I want to do and what I want to create. So yeah, really, really, really feeling that. Oh my goodness, that could be like a whole other conversation, but another time, another time. Oh, that's just flown by. I
It's like
always
the
love.
fear, it's like the fear is less, you know, because we
Yeah,
have a fear of doing something or putting something out or saying something. But the desire to be more of who you are is feels stronger than the fear now. It's like there's been
totally.
a little hip in, you know, sometimes the fear was stronger, but now it feels like the pull to be more of yourself is stronger than the fear.
Yeah, yeah,
So it is an opportunity.
yeah, definitely. And you mentioned the word authentic, and I think that's been a bit of a buzzword for a while, but actually, I was just kind of writing something about it before we started recording. It feels like more authentic authenticity. Like it's actually real authenticity now. It feels like that's what's happening. Like that's the energy that's coming through. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Rosa, you know, my spirit baby, and you know, what's this? And all she kept saying was, "Be you. All you have to do is be you." And then there's this question, well, who is me? You know, we're still finding our way with that, but you know, deep down, you can feel that burn inside of you. This is me. So it's more like, okay, so what's stopping me from being me? Go
Yeah.
to that, because then it's like, just be you in all of your all of your stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Oh, yeah. Oh, Deborah, like, you know, I always love our conversations. I could literally just talk to you for hours. But for those who are listening, who want to find out more about you and your work, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
So my website obviously is debrakilby.com, but I'm on Instagram, Debra Kilby Healing and Channeling, and Facebook under the same name. So just connect on social media, drop me a message. Yeah, yeah. It's, you know, I'm very available. Is that, yeah, I'm very, yeah.
Receptive.
I absolutely love, because I'm
Receptive.
all about connection. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
And just hearing
Absolutely.
your stories, and you know, and then if you feel like I can support you in something, then of course, you know, we can have a deeper conversation.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. We'll put all of those links in the show notes and also the link to how to communicate with your unborn baby, the amazing book, experience, journey, whatever we want to call it. Thank you so much, Deborah. I am eternally grateful that you are a member of the Unbound Press family. It's always such a joy to connect.
Oh, part of me feels I wrote another book to stay in the Unbound Press vibe.
Yeah, I'm here for it, to be
No,
honest.
thank you for all of the support again with this book. It's phenomenal, phenomenal.
Oh,
It really does help with just that, you know, inspiration and support, and just like, no, it's fine,
yeah.
it's all good. You
Yeah.
know, it's just very soothing and very supportive. So thank you
Oh,
to
you're
all you
welcome.
and all your team.
And just to say, you never have to, you don't have to keep writing books to kind of like keep up your membership. You're in. Oh, once you're in, you're in. So yeah,
Oh, I know. It was gorgeous connecting with the other authors at Christmas. And yeah, it really is
yeah.
this very special community. Definitely.
Thank you for being part of it, my love.
Thank you.